Alright, so I've shot this about 10 times now, and I'm going to start off by saying if you don't know anything about the Illuminati, if you don't know anything about the New World Order, if you don't believe that there is a higher power than we the people, you might as well turn off the video, and if you have anything negative to say about this video, I don't really give a fuck, comment all you want, because I believe what I believe, and that's that. Anyway, I was up all night, it's now 7:45, I was studying the Illuminati, and I was basically taking down all this information, and I feel the compelling, like I just feel compelled to try to put this out there. Basically, I took it down in three stages of notes. One, college. Two, how the whole idea of these banks and the Illuminati taking power started, and then how they cemented their power. The first one, colleges, which is more recent, is just the most recent one. Everyone's heard about the real estate bubble popping and bursting, and then all this debt falling on America. This was all planned. 9/11 was planned. If you don't believe that, that's fine. That's totally fine if you don't believe that. I have trouble thinking sometimes maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just chasing wild goose theories. But when the facts point to exactly what I'm thinking, I'm gonna go with my first thought. Anyway, prices of diploma have steeply risen, while the worth of that diploma has steeply declined. 70% of high school kids who graduate high school go to college nowadays. So what is getting a college diploma, the same college diploma as another student, how does that set you aside from anyone else in the job market? How does that make you any different? It doesn't. It's a total waste of time. It's College kids don't even go to college to learn anymore. They go to college to get fucked up and have sex. Like, and if I'm not going to college just to do that, but I'm definitely not gonna not do it. Like, who doesn't want to go have fun at college? But at the same time, America is raising its children to value the wrong things. And this is all planned through media sabotage and subliminal messaging by the Illuminati. Anyway, I'm not gonna bother you. I'm not gonna bore you with all the money stats I took down. But basically, you know how people say you can make $1 million more in your lifetime. Well, if you go to college for 6 years, you end up paying almost $500,000 out of pocket, including interest from loans. Like I don't know how 100% factual those stats are, but I took them off a website that seemed pretty legit. So yeah, basically in my mind, college is a fucking racket. Colleges have been a racket for a long time, and they're getting more ridiculous as they go. Second is the Rockefeller family. The Rockefeller family is one of the most powerful group of people in the world, along with the Red's Child. I think that's what the hell their name is. Red's Child family. Basically, if you don't know who the Rockefeller family was, they monopolized the oil industry during the Industrial Revolution, and the way they did this was through corporate protection. When one of their companies would come into trouble with the law, they would basically be like, "Oh well, it wasn't the investors' fault. It wasn't the people in control of the company's fault. It was just the company fucked up." So you have the scapegoat of just putting everything on the company and not the investors who control the company. So basically, that's how Rockefeller protected all of his establishments and all that shit. The Rockefeller family owns the Encyclopedia Britannica. They own Chase Bank and a couple other banks. They invested heavily in the World Trade Center. They've taken control of the education system. They've taken control of the drug control establishment, and they pretty much started the UN. They had a heavy influence on the start of the UN. And it's like you can say, oh, you're just a crazy conspiracy theorist. Well, what happens when the Illuminati, literally the term Illuminati means to bring the light, and then you look at Chevron, one of the main oil companies that Rockefeller owns, and there's a torch with shit. I don't even know how to explain it to y'all because I don't want to sound. I meant to say Standard Oil, not Chevron. Standard Oil has the torch. And if you don't know anything about Illuminati, their main colors are red and blue. They basically they represent good and evil. Uh, I'm not going to get into a deeper explanation because this video is only like 15 minutes long. I don't have that much time. Basically, the way that this all started was these bankers, the Rothschild family. Basically, this dad, who was very wealthy, sent out all of his kids to the main countries of Europe, including France, Britain, Italy, and Germany. And what he had them do was systematically take control of those countries' credit system, their credit line, and their monetary line. And basically, once they had control of that, they invited this U.S. senator and wined and dined him for 2 years over in Europe, and basically sent him back with a bill. And this bill was called the Federal Reserve Act. Problem with this Federal Reserve Act is it creates one central bank. Our founding fathers, including Thomas Jefferson, including George Washington, including all of them, they all were against the idea of a federal central banking system because they believed that it brought too much power, and the only thing worse than an opposing nation's army is a bank that is more powerful than either country. Because what these banks can do, once they're more powerful and once they control the country's money, which they now do, believe it or not, believe what you want, our country is controlled by banks. Basically, these banks loan out credit, and they loan out money to these nations and these rulers. And what they do is they tack on a high-ass interest rate. And what happens is if you don't pay that bank back, they go ahead and they finance your enemy. So your enemy can come and kick your ass. And, these banks don't care who's in control. They only care if they control the person that controls it. They don't care who wins. They only want the money. And basically, this all got cemented and started back in 1913. Because from 1900 to 1913, the U.S. had a very manageable debt of only a couple $1,000,000. But in 1913, a series of laws was passed in Congress, including the Federal Bank Reserve Act. The IRS was created, the FBI was created, and the Anti-Defamation League was created. Basically, this Federal Reserve Act, the original one that these bankers sent with this senator back to the U.S., the one that he tried to pass through Congress in Taft's presidency didn't pass because they were worried about this guy's connections with all these upper-level bankers in Europe. And they didn't know what his intentions were. Basically, the next year was the presidential election. And what happened was these bankers and this senator went out and basically bought out Woodrow Wilson when he won the election. So Woodrow Wilson sells out the presidency to these bankers and gets this law pushed through right before the Christmas break of Congress, and the Federal Reserve is started. Let's see. Basically, what these bankers wanted was to force America to borrow all of this money from them, but they didn't know how they were going to do it. So this plan gets hatched, and the next year, the World War II starts in 1914. And these bankers, what a lot of people don't know is these bankers, they funded Hitler with millions of dollars. And basically tricked the U.S. into the war with the 1917 sinking of the Lusitania. So what happens is U.S. borrows all this money, and the bankers tack on all this interest, and we have no way to pay back our war debt when the war's over. So here comes the IRS and the formation of income taxes. But the problem with that is all the super rich, like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, are able to avoid their large taxes because they hide all their money in these bank accounts and in these trust funds, and everyone that's rich finds a way around these taxes, but the poor and the middle class are made to suffer. And these income taxes have gradually become bigger since this all started. And the same year, this all happens in the same year, the FBI is established. And, in my opinion, the FBI is the most criminal organization on the planet. They do shit that they feel they can do anything they want to anyone they want, whenever they want, however they want. They feel they're above the law because they are the law. Because we're the biggest country, we're the most powerful country in the world, and they're the most powerful organization in this country. Anyway, and if you didn't get anything from this, I don't. You just have to study it. If you study it, the facts show it. The facts prove what I'm saying has some validity. And I like to quote a man named James Cooper. He goes, "All the greatness of character is dependent on individuality. The man who has no other existence than that which he partakes in is common with all around him, and will never have any other than an existence of mediocrity." Now, what this quote says to me is that we cannot keep letting these motherfuckers in Congress and these motherfucking bankers control the world, because that's what they're eventually going to do. They're eventually going to cause the world to go to war, fuck everyone, and then take all the money for themselves. And what this says to me is that we can't, our generation, my generation, can't sit by any longer and watch this shit happen. We have to step up as a generation, simply as a generation. Because people like me and you, we have to step up. Because if we don't, the world's gonna end. It's gonna be over for everyone. And if you don't know anything about the Illuminati, I did create a symbol last night that's basically the opposite of what the Illuminati is. It goes something like this. It's basically two middle fingers that make their little fucking triangle, the all-seeing eye. And then what I tried to make it look like was a 3-point crown, saying that we are the real kings, not you. And fuck your triangle. Anyway, my main idea is to create a new political party, because as much as you want to believe that the two political parties in America nowadays are different, they're not. They're controlled by the same people. They sell themselves out to the highest bidder, essentially. What I'm proposing is we create our own political party, our own political activist party, as a younger generation, trying to seize control of what it should be ours and what the government and what these bankers are taking away from us, which is our livelihood. They're trying to put everyone in debt so that we have no way out of being poor, out of being weak. And what we have to do is we have to stand together, because if we don't, if we stand separate, we're all going to fall one by one like dominoes. So what I'm trying to propose to everyone here today is that we start the anonymous movement, the anonymous political party. It might just sound stupid, but I honestly, I haven't put that much thought into this, but I put a lot into it in the last night. I haven't thought about it long, but long enough to know that someone has to make a stand. Someone has to do something. And this is the only way that something can get done. We have to seize power. We have to get some control back, because if we don't, and these laws are cemented in, and these people keep control, it'll be the end of the world as we know it. The world will drastically change. Anyway, if you're with me, comment. We are anonymous, and we are coming.